Grenada's Credit Reporting Act came into effect in 2018, which gave rise to the establishment of a credit bureau under the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union's framework. Each territory within the ECCU launched its credit bureau, with Grenada having done so in September 2024, and its regulator being the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. President of the Grenada Bankers Association, Larry Lawrence, says the intention is for everyone to have access to credit as well as a bank or credit union account.
You will appreciate that within any economy, spending is what drives the economy. So it's a series of transactions. So in a transaction, you have a buyer and you have a seller.
Mr. Lawrence notes that most times the need to borrow stems from not having enough money to exchange for goods and services. The association president says this is when a credit bureau will come in to collect, manage, and distribute personal financial history in terms of how individuals have been satisfying obligations.
The intention clearly is that if there's a credit bureau, of which there are many persons who sort of subscribe to it, then what that means, any institution that subscribe to it, it then means that it reduces uncertainty for persons who have to give credit, and it reduces uncertainty for persons who request credit, because it's all part of how you improve spending in an economy, because persons have cash, but they're limited by the cash in terms of what they can afford.
He notes that financial institutions would now have additional security in the form of customers' credit history for repayment based on the information collected by the credit bureau.
So an indicator of if somebody will repay an obligation is how they've satisfied it in the past. So the credit bureau then says, okay, if I collect your information and I can share it with the providers, persons who request information on that person's financial history, the credit history, so to speak, it then means it reduces uncertainty and allows a lender to be able to give credit with the understanding that the individual is likely to repay.
The president of the Grenada Bankers Association says an individual's credit score is then created, which indicates how that person has or has not satisfied previous or current financial obligations or debts.
There are a few more inputs. So for example, each person may have, of course, you have a salary. Your salary would qualify you for a certain amount of credit. And naturally, if you are heavily indebted, then how it might score you. Yes, you may be satisfying your debts, but by extension, can you take on more debt, right? That could be a question and one of the inputs, that helps arrive at the score.
Mr. Lawrence notes that persons who consistently satisfy debt payments will benefit from improved credit scores, thus increasing the likelihood of qualifying for further borrowing. I am Gerard Joseph reporting.